Right. So when a number is shifted towards left by 1 bit position, okay, so then the number will be doubled. Then the number will be doubled. Okay, so if you move 1 bit position towards left, then the number will be doubled. Okay, so that means that is multiplied by 2. Multiplied by 2. Okay, so this is a note 1, and second point is regarding right shift. Okay, so then second, let me just copy this same thing so that I can make only required changes. Similarly, the second point is when a number is shifted towards right, right by 1 bit position, then the number becomes half. Okay, so then the number becomes half here. Number becomes half. Okay, so that is divided by 2. Okay, so divided by the number will be divided by 2. Divided means here integer division will be performed by the computer. Okay, so that's why the number becomes half. Half means exactly not half, integer half here. The meaning is 9 means 9 by 2. You will get the result as a 4 there. Okay, okay. So this is very important about left shift and right shift operators. Okay, right. So next we'll move on to exclusive OR. So here exclusive OR requires 2 operands. No? So let me just take OR here. Example, I'll go here, right? Okay, so everything I'll copy. Afterwards, I'll make changes here, right? So then next operator we'll talk about a bitwise exclusive OR operator. Okay, so bitwise exclusive OR operator. Okay, so in other words, we can also write in short this as XOR. In short, we write it as a XOR operator, exclusive OR operator. Okay, so the bitwise exclusive OR operator is represented. This exclusive OR operator is represented by, okay, so by the symbol, represented by the symbol represented by the symbol. What is the symbol? What is the symbol we use for exclusive OR? Okay, so it is nothing but the cap. In mathematics we call it as cap, but it is caret here. Okay, and is surrounded on both sides by integer expression. Okay, so the result of XOR, the result of a exclusive OR operation, okay, is 0 if both the bits are same. Okay, so if both the bits are same, the result will be 0. Okay, so otherwise you can say XOR operation is 0 if both the bits are same. Okay, otherwise it is 1. Okay, even if both the bits are the same, then it is 1. Sorry, 0. And if the bits are different, then it becomes a 1. It becomes a 1. Only I'm talking about a 2-bit input here. Okay, so example I'll take here. I'll just draw the XOR truth table here so that you can understand easily. Truth table for XOR. Okay. So now just see. So if we have one input X, then another input Y. Okay, so then the result here what we do is we'll take lowercase letters. I have two variables X and Y, and if you perform X exclusive OR, X exclusive OR Y. Okay, so then what is the result we'll get? We'll see here. Okay, right. So just let me add this here. Right. So first X is 0. If X is 0 and Y is also 0. Okay. So then X exclusive or Y. X exclusive or Y. Then the result is both the bits are 0. Same no here. Both the bits are same here. Okay. So that's why the result will be 0. The result will be 0 here. Okay. So assume X is 0 and Y is 1. X is 0 and Y is 1. Then the result will be 1. Okay. Result will be 1. That means here the two inputs are different. If the two inputs are same, then the result will be 0. If the inputs are different, then the result will be 1 here. Result will be 1 here. Okay. Similarly, if X is 1 and Y is 0. If the bit X is 1 and Y is 0, then the result X exclusive or Y will be 1 because the inputs are different here. Okay, so since the inputs are different, then the result will be 1. Okay, so assume that X is 1 and Y is also 1. Is also 1. Okay, so since both the bits are same, then the result will be 0. If the two bits are same, then the result will be 0. Okay, so this is the property of a exclusive OR. This is the property of a exclusive OR. Okay, so hope it is clear from the truth table of a exclusive OR. Okay, so if two bits are same, then the result will be 0. For 0, 0, result is 0. Even for 1, 1 also, the result will be 0. If this is extended, to 3 input, 4 input in second year, you will come across this exclusive OR. Okay. So to be frank, if number of ones or odd number of ones are present, then the result will be 1 actually here. Okay. If you take any number of input values here, but in first year we restrict to only 2 input values here. Okay, so when you consider 2 input values, how you can remember when both inputs are same, result will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1 also 0. If the inputs are different, then the result will be 1. Then the result will be 1. This is how the exclusive OR operation is performed. Clear? Okay, right? Is it clear? Yes, understanding this truth table is important. This is clear? Okay, right. Okay then, right. So x right shift n is nothing but x into 2 power of n, right? Okay. X is it 2 power of n? X into 2 power of n? No. When you shift right, the number becomes half. When you shift left, the number becomes doubled. Number becomes double. From the example, who is this 531? What is your doubt? I could not understand from this equation. Okay. Right. Now, so with this, now we'll work out an example problem here. Okay. Assume that I have X in binary form contains these bits. Okay. So Y contains these bits. Now, if I perform X exclusive or Y, what is the result I will get? Let me just check here. Okay. So what I do is, instead of okay, let us quickly work out this. X exclusive or a Y here. Okay, right. Now see here, all the 4 bits 0, 0, 4 bits 0, 0. Okay, if the bits are 0, then the result is also 0. So that's why you will get the first 4 bits as a zeros. Okay, so now coming to this 0 and 0, both are 0. 0 is exclusive or 0 is 0. If the two bits are same, result is 0. So here 0 and here 1. Bits are different. That's why you will get the result as a 1 here. Okay, 1 exclusive or 0, then you will get the result as 1. Now see here, 1 or exclusive or 1. Bits are same. So that's why here you will get the result as a 0. Here you will get the result as a 0. Yes or no? Okay, right? So next 0 exclusive or 1. Okay, so different bits are different. That's why result will be 1. 0 exclusive or 1. 1 you will get 0 exclusive or 1. 1 you will get 1 exclusive or 1. That means you will get 0 here. You will get 0 here. Okay, so similarly 1 exclusive or 1. Same bits. 2 bits are same. That's why we'll get the result as a 0. Similarly, next 2 bits are also same, then the result will be 0. Then next 2 bits 0 or 1 here. So you will get exclusive or means 1 you will, and 0 or 0, again 0 you will get. Okay, so this is the result of a exclusive or operation. Okay, so result of the X exclusive or Y will be this now. Okay, so OR and exclusive OR, what is the difference? Exclusive OR, if the two bits are same, result will be 0. This is only change between OR and exclusive OR. Okay, right? Now we'll work out our original sum here. Okay, so if A is equal to 12 and B is equal to 9, what is the value of A exclusive or B? A exclusive or a B. Okay, so A is equal to 12. If you represent in binary form, this is the value, and B is equal to 9. If you represent in binary, this is the value we got in last class. We did this binary representation. Okay, right. So now if I perform exclusive OR here, A exclusive or B, A exclusive or B here. Okay, so what is the result we'll get? Let us just calculate the result here. Okay, so 1 or 1, 1 exclusive or 1, both the bits are same, then what is the result? We'll get the result as a 0 here. Okay, so bits are different here, 1 or 0. 1 you will get 0 or 0 means you will get 0. 0 or 1 here, both bits are different, then the result will be 1 here. Okay, so here 0 1 0 1 you will get here. Then what is the value you will get here in binary in decimal form? 2 power 0, this is 2 power 1, and this is 2 power 2. Okay, so 2 power 2 is 4 plus 1, 5 in decimal, then the result will be 5. The answer will be 5. Clear? Okay, so for the same, if you perform OR operation, you might have got a different answer. Okay, so A exclusive or B means you will get the result as a 5 here. Okay. Right. So if this is clear, then we'll move on to bitwise complement operator. Bitwise complement operator. Then the last operator in bitwise is bitwise complement operator. Okay, so it is also called as bitwise. Instead of calling it as bitwise complement operator here, bitwise negation operator I can say here. Okay, so bitwise negation operator, it is also called as a bitwise once complement operator. Bitwise once complement operator I can say. Bitwise once complement operator. Okay, and please remember it is a unary operator. It is a unary operator. Unary operator means it requires only one operand. It requires only one operand. So what it will do? Okay, so what is the symbol? It is represented by the symbol. It is represented by the symbol. Yeah, any doubt? Anyone got any doubt here? I'm getting some message. Yeah, result is fine. Fine. Right. Thank you for helping me. Right. So it is represented by the symbol. What is the symbol we use? This tilde. Okay. So this is called a tilde symbol. Represented by the symbol tilde. Okay. Horizontal, yes, you can call it as. So let me increase the font size. This is how it is represented. Okay. So tilde is the symbol used for representing this bitwise once complement operator. Okay, so what it will do, what it performs. Okay, so it let me just make the changes here, font size. Okay, so what it will do is it inverts all the bits. Let me just move the screen up so that you can see. It inverts all the bits represented by its operand. Okay, by its operand, it inverts all the bits. Okay, so you might have heard the word inverter. Okay, so nowadays in every house you find inverter. Clear? Okay, so right, so it inverts all the bits represented by its operand. Okay, so what do you mean by inverts here? That is that is 0 becomes 1 and 1 becomes 0. 0 becomes 1 and 1 becomes a 0. Okay, so that is called invert operation. Okay, so that means if its operand contains a bit as 0, then it makes the 0. It converts all zeros to 1 and all ones to 0. Okay, so in our language, it is a Jambalakadi Pamba operator. you can say, right? Okay, zeros will be converted to 1 and 1 will be converted to 0. That's why it is called ones complement. Ones complement means inverting all the bits. Example I'll take here. For example, I'll take the same example here. Example, say x is equals to some example I am taking here. Okay, so 1 1 0 0. Okay, so then 0 1 0 1. If this is a x, okay, so then if I write a negation of x, okay, otherwise shall we take this 12 here? Okay, so just an example we'll take here. Now if I say uh, one's complement of x, if I perform, okay, so then what is the result I'll get? Just see here. Okay, so if I say complement of x, okay, so what is the result I'll get? I'll write these bits with spaces so that I can show you clearly. Right, 4 bits I am writing as a group of 4 bits. Right, now if I say complement of x, this 1 will become 0 here. Okay, similarly this 1 will become 0 here and 0 will become 1 here. Okay, right, and this 0 becomes a 1 here. Okay, similarly this 0 becomes 1 here and this 1 becomes a 0 here and this 0 becomes a 1 here and this 1 becomes a 0 here. Okay, so this is 1's complement. 1 becomes 0 and 0 becomes a 1. Okay, so simply it inverts inversion operation. This is called inversion operation. All the bits will be inverted. All the bits will be inverted. Okay, right? This is the result you will get here. One's complement, bitwise negation operator, or you can also call it as one's complement operator. You can also call it as one's complement operator. Clear? Okay, right. So 1100, then you will get 0011 and 0101 means 1010 we will get. Okay, so we have given correct answer 505 and 551. Yeah, okay then. Right. So then we'll move on to another topic that is called as a type conversion. This is very important. Being a computer science student, we should understand this type conversion. Okay, so type means here data type. Please remember, whenever we are talking or using the word type in computer science means it is about data type only. Okay, so in an expression, when we write in an expression, we write a constants and variables of different data types in single expression. Okay, so in such case, the compiler automatically converts one data type into another data type. One data type is to be converted into another data type. That is called as type conversion. Okay, so that means the expression should contain all constants and variables of a same data type. Then only the computer can evaluate that expression. Okay, right? So here we can just write this: C permits mixing of constants and variables of different data types, okay, in an expression. So in an expression, we use constants and variables of different data types. Okay, so in such expression, operand of one data type is converted another data type to another data type. This process is known as type conversion. This process is called as a type conversion. Clear? Okay. So that means converting a constant or variable of one data type into another data type is called as a type conversion. Okay, so in an expression, you should be very careful when you write variables of different data types. In such case, what happens? Sometimes the compiler automatically converts some variables into another data type variables, but sometimes explicitly we need to convert in our program. Okay, so that's why there are two types of type conversion. You can classify these into two types. There are two types of type conversions. Okay, so type conversion is of two types. Okay, otherwise type conversion methods you can say AR. Okay, so the first one is called as a implicit type conversion. Implicit type conversion, or you can also call it as type coercion. Please remember this word. Okay, so type coercion, implicit type conversion, and second one is explicit type conversion. Explicit type conversion, or you can also call it as type casting. We call it as a type casting. Okay, so today we discuss about implicit type conversion. Implicit type conversion. Is it clear? Okay, converting one data type variable into another data type is called as a type conversion. And this is two types: implicit type conversion or type coercion, explicit type conversion or a type casting. Okay, so what do we mean by implicit type conversion? We'll see here. Okay, so this type conversion is performed by the compiler. Okay, this type conversion. Okay, so implicit type conversion is performed by the compiler. Okay, or if you want to write in the form of a definition. Okay, so the type conversion performed by the compiler, type conversion performed by the compiler is known as implicit type conversion. Okay, so implicit, we are saying implicit type conversion, that means compiler will do this type conversion. Okay, we are not bothered about this type of what is the variable type. Okay, so compiler will look after this. That is called as a implicit type conversion. Okay, but here what it will do is it converts this implicit type conversion. Lowest data type variable will be converted to highest data type variable. Okay, so this you should remember here. So in implicit type conversion, I'll tell you what is lowest type and highest type. In implicit type conversion, okay, so all the data types of variables are upgraded upgraded to the data type of the variable with largest data type. Okay, so expression contains different variables. Now there may be different variables. Okay, so what it will do is all uh, lowest type variables will be upgraded to a data type of a variable with the largest data type. Okay, so if there is any largest variable with the highest data type, then remaining all other variables will be converted to this largest data type. Okay, so please remember this largest data type. I am making it as bold so that you can remember easily. Okay, so which is called the largest data type. Okay, so I'll just give the list which is converted to which here. Okay, so if you see here, then long double is the highest data type here. Okay, so this will be the highest data type. Now I'll use arrow here so that you can see how the variables will be upgraded here. Long double. Okay, so then comes double data type. Okay, that means double data type will be upgraded to long double type here. Okay, so this arrow will be creating the problem. Right. Okay, now so hopefully if we uh, let me quickly type this so that I can discuss this with you afterwards. Okay, right. Okay, right. Now it is fitting. Okay, so then float will be upgraded to double type. Float will be upgraded to double type. Okay, so then unsigned long int will be upgraded to float type here. then long int will be upgraded to unsigned long int. From bottom to top, you have to look at these lowest type to highest type upgraded. That's why I'm showing the arrow towards up, so that lowest type will be upgraded to highest type here. Okay, so then unsigned int will be upgraded to long int. This is very important, even though this is beyond your first year knowledge, but I want to introduce this here, so that being a programmer, you should know this. Okay, so integer will be, then yeah, where can I append this example? If I move away, right, so here I can add one more arrow. Then char will be upgraded to int. Okay, so this is how the type conversion will be performed. Okay, and this is the hierarchy of highest data type to lowest data type. From top to bottom, if you consider, okay, so it is highest data type to lowest data type, and if you consider from bottom to top, it will be lowest data type to highest data type. Okay, so the lowest data type is char, which occupies 1 byte, so it will be upgraded to integer type. Upgraded to integer type. Okay, then integer will be upgraded to unsigned integer type, and unsigned int will be upgraded to long int, then unsigned long int. This will be converted to floating point type. Okay, so then float will be converted to double type, and double will be converted to finally long double. Long double is the highest data type. Okay, so if you have variables of mix variables of these different data types, then this is how the implicit type conversion will be performed. Okay, so largest variable, a variable with the largest data type will be identified first in that expression, then remaining all will be converted to this highest data type. Okay, example I'll tell you. Unsigned long int means, okay, so unsigned long int means actually in tomorrow's class I'll explain about how double and long double differ. I told this in data types. Double occupies 8 bytes, whereas long double occupies 10 bytes. Yes or no? Okay, data types class, if you look into, okay, so I'll share that video. If you listen to that video, double is also floating point type. Okay, so it occupies 8 bytes, float occupies 4 bytes, double occupies 8 bytes, and long double occupies 10 bytes. 10 bytes. Okay, that means the range of values that you can store using long double is much bigger than the double. Okay, right. Unsigned int and signed int, I'll quickly explain here. Okay, about unsigned and signed here. For example, when you are expressing a number, okay, I'll take about this same number. For example, 12 we got, no? Okay, I'll take this example and I'll quickly explain about this. Okay, so how 12 is represented internally? How 12 is represented internally? I'll quickly explain about this now. See, so I said this is the binary pattern of 12. Okay, but to be frank, if I declare int a is equal to 12. Okay, then how 12 is represented? How 12 is represented internally? That is the question here. Okay, now I am showing the binary representation, memory representation of a 12, how 12 will be stored inside the memory. Just quickly look at this. Please concentrate, see here. Okay, now 12 binary representation you got like this. Okay, but internally what happens means, we said that integer occupies 12 bytes, 2 bytes. Integer occupies 2 bytes. 2 bytes means 16 bits. Yes or no? 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. 2 bytes means 16 bits. Okay. So if you say assuming int takes 2 bytes, 2 bytes. Okay. So then x internally will be represented like this. That means it has to be represented as a 16 bits. Yes or no? So that is means 16 bits. 16 bits. Okay, so how it is represented in using 16 bits? Okay, now the 16 bits, now when you convert this in binary form, we got 1100. Okay, so 4 bits we got, and remaining 12 bits will be assumed as a zeros like this. 4 zeros here. Okay, so 4 zeros again here. Okay, then 4 zeros again. Then this is the internal representation. Okay, so 16 bits. Now the 12 internally will be represented in 16 bits like this. 16 bits like this. Okay, assume if it is minus 12. Assume if it is minus 12. Okay, so how it is to be represented internally? Internally, how it has to be represented? Okay, that means the computer should distinguish between positive number and negative number. Yes or no? Okay, so for that purpose, what it will do is this leftmost bit. This is called as a sign bit. This is called as a sign bit. This is called as a sign bit. Okay, so what is the sign bit here? The same this. I'll take this here. Right. Now this is called a sign bit here. Okay, so this leftmost bit, I am just moving remaining bits aside. Okay, so this leftmost bit will be used to store the sign of the number. Used to store the sign of the number. Okay, this is called sign bit. Now, if a is equal to 12, okay, so now I am writing, just see here. Okay, so for positive numbers, sign bit will be 0. Sign bit will be 0. Okay. Similarly, for negative numbers, sign bit will be 1. Sign bit will be 1. Okay. So that means out of 16 bits, 1 bit will be used for storing the sign of the number. Okay. So since a is equal to 12, 12 is a positive number, then your sign bit will be 0 here. Okay. So if you same way, if you use a negative number, control C I use here. Okay. So if I give a variable value as a is equal to minus 12 here, a is equal to minus 12. Okay. Right. So then here internally it will be represented like this. Minus 12 will be stored. Magnitude is same. 1100. Okay. Only the sign bit changes here. Now sign bit will be 1 here because it is a negative number. No, this is sign bit will be 1 here. This is how internally it will be stored. Okay. So these numbers are called as a signed integer numbers. These are called this is called a signed integer representation. This is called signed integer representation or signed number representation. You can call it as signed integer representation. Clear now? Signed integer representation. Okay, so in signed integer representation, what it will do, it uses this leftmost bit for storing the sign of the number. If the sign bit is 1, then this is the magnitude of the number. Remaining 15 bits indicates magnitude of the number. Okay, so then this entire number is a negative number. If the sign bit is 0, then this is the magnitude of the number. It indicates the positive number. This is called signed magnitude or signed number representation. Signed representation of the numbers. Signed representation of numbers. Okay, right? In unsigned representation, there is no sign bit. Okay, so in unsigned number representation means unsigned integer means all the bits will be used for storing the magnitude of the number. There is no sign bit. That means it is confirmed that the number is positive, unsigned. So then why to waste this bit for storing a sign here? Okay, so in such cases, if you have, for example, age values, consider age values. Age values never be negative, no? Okay, so in such case you can declare a variable of a unsigned integer like this. So in such case what happens, you can declare there is a keyword called as unsigned. Okay, so unsigned int something like age, you can declare a variable like this. Okay, so when you declare the variable as unsigned, okay, so that means it uses all the bit for storing the number only, for storing the magnitude of this variable. Okay, so no sign bit will be used here. That is the difference between signed representation and unsigned representation. Okay, so this is a positive number, so this will also, now there is no sign bit, this is also indicates magnitude. All the 16 bits you need to cover, convert them into 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2. If you multiply each bit up to 2 power 15, then that gives the actual number. Is it clear now? So hope I made it clear. Screen is not coming up. Is it so? Who is this 5E8? Clear? Screen is not coming. Someone 5E8. He has given some message. Visible. Okay, right. Now, so hope you understood the difference between signed number representation and unsigned number representation. Okay, there is no sign bit. All the bits indicate magnitude of the number. Okay, so we don't use any sign bit there. Okay, example, you can use a keyword signed, unsigned. Okay, when it is signed, no need of writing signed. If you just when you say int age, by default it will be taken as signed integer. Okay, explicitly if you want to make the variable as unsigned, then you have to write the keyword as a unsigned. So you have to write this keyword, unsigned keyword, you have to add here. Unsigned int. Then compiler understands that this is unsigned, no need to use sign bit here. Okay, so that's how you can inform the compiler. Is it clear? Right. There are a lot of things, friends, to discuss actually. Okay, so if you go and dig the subject, so many things are there. These are seems to be beyond the syllabus, but for a computer science student, these are required. Okay, so if you take you into subject in this way, then your syllabus covering will be difficult. Okay, so whenever a need arises, if you are really interested, I take extra classes and I can uh, transfer whatever knowledge I know. Okay, so all these things, mind you, all these things you can know only by reading textbooks. Please remember. Okay, that's why I always suggest every batch of students read textbook. Textbook reading textbook is a good habit when you are learning a new programming subject. Okay, so better you take a standard textbook of that language and better you read, so that these kind of internal things you will come to know about that programming language. Okay, right. So now we were talking about implicit conversion. No, okay, this is the hierarchy, how small data type will be converted into highest type. Now I'll give you an example for implicit conversion here. So that we can. Okay, a simple example program demonstrating implicit conversion. Okay, so that you can understand here, program demonstrating implicit type conversion. Show the output also, so that you can understand how compiler has automatically performed implicit conversion there. Okay, so what is the next line to be included? Quickly, I'll take another 2 to 3 minutes. Please uh, bear with me so that we can complete this implicit type conversion example. Okay, so then write main. Okay, so then begin the main here. Now I'm declaring three variables here. One is of integer type, say for example int x is equals to, okay, so some 22 I declared here. Okay, so then I'm declaring another type, for example char. Okay, so y is equals to some character I am storing here. Okay, so whenever you want to store a single character, you must enclose that in a single code. Okay, so say for example capital Z I am storing in this. Then I am using a floating pointer variable. Okay, so here capital A I'll take for example. Okay, so that I can use a variable name called as Z is here. Okay, so Z is equals to some value. Okay, otherwise I'll first I show some calculation here. Okay, so I have a variable x with value 22 and a character variable y. Okay, and a floating point variable z without any value here. Okay, so just to see here, if I use a statement like x is equals to x plus y, y. Okay, now I am printing the value of z here. Say printf. Okay, so printf floating point now z value. So z is equals to percentage f, say new line and comma z. I'm printing z value here. Okay, so then say return 0, close. Right. So I'll open an online compiler. There, after showing the output, I'll discuss about that output. Okay, so online C compiler. Let me copy this code. I'm just pasting this code here. Okay, so it is better if I take a number, say for example some 20, so that it becomes very easy. First I'll show you with a small a here. Okay, so I'm taking a character value small a. What happens, I'll tell you here. This single quotes I need to change. Similarly double quotes I need to change here. Right now, see, try to observe here. X value I have taken 20 and character y, a small a I have stored in that z value. Then I am adding these to x plus y. Okay, then I am printing the z value. If I run this, what is the output I will get here? Just see here. Z is equal to 117. Okay, so otherwise, now this 117. Okay, I'll come to capital A here so that you can 10 I'll take here. You can understand this very well. The output you can understand. Okay, now see here. So Z is equal to 75 I got here. How I got 75 in Z here? Okay, now I go back to this screen so that it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, so X value I have taken 10 here. Okay, and Y value capital A I have taken here. Y value capital A I have taken here. Okay, Z is equal to x plus y. When I say here, what happened internally means, okay, so here highest data type variable is Z. In this expression, highest data type variable is Z here. Okay, so that means this character will be converted to integer, and this both integers will be now converted to floating point type internally. Okay, so that means what it has internally did is, okay, so first this char y is equal to capital A, no? Okay, so each character internally will be represented by an ASCII value, I said. Okay, every character is internally represented by an ASCII value. Everything will be stored internally as zeros and ones, I said. Okay, computer does not know capital A, capital B, small a, or these alphabets and numbers. Okay, so that's why what it will do is it stores this capital A as a value called as a 65. It stores as a value called as a 65. Okay, this expression will become x value is what? X value is now 10 here. Okay, so plus, and y value is capital A. Capital A means internally it is 65. Now first character will be converted to integer type because x is integer, no? So character is also converted to integer here. Okay, so this 10 plus 65 will be performed. 10 plus 65 is 75. Okay, but what is the z value here? Z is of which type? Floating point type. So that's why then this result will be converted 75. You are getting the result as a 75 here. Okay, you are getting the result as 75, and this 75, this constant 75 will be converted as a floating point constant. That means internally it will be converted highest type to 75.000. So that's why when you print Z here, then you will get the output as a 75 printed on the screen there. Okay, so just see here. You can see Z is equal to 75.000. Okay, so that means internally your compiler is converting as per this hierarchy. See here, where is the hierarchy now? Character is converted, upgraded to integer type, and this integer type will be converted because there is no long type. Okay, so then it is converted to next highest type is float. So converted to float type, the result. So that's why you will get here, you will get this 75.00. Okay. So in this first, this expression is calculated. In expression, x value is 10 and y value it will take as 65. 10 plus 65 will be performed 75. Then this 75 will be upgraded to 75.000. Okay. That will be stored in a z value. This is called implicit conversion, and nothing is visible to us. This is not visible to us. Okay, so that's why here you did not get any error. You did not get any error here. Is it clear? Okay, so this is implicit type conversion. Even though you write an expression with different variables type. Please remember, compatible variables only you should write in the expression. If you write uncompatible type, then this compiler, if is unable to convert one type to the next type, then it gives error here. We'll see that in tomorrow's class. Okay, so I'll stop here. Yeah, let us see is a good book. You can refer to that book. Okay, so implicit conversion. Tomorrow, explicit conversion. We have to do explicitly in the program, and how it can be done, typecasting. We'll see in tomorrow's class. Okay, right. I'll stop here. How many joined? Let me just check out. 99 members. Okay, but very few students are attending the classes. That's why I don't go in depth of the subject. Okay, because when you people are not interested, why should I waste my time? Okay, so I prefer to complete the syllabus.